Well, again, it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into it. So, again, thank you for taking a minute out today.
Thank you too.
So, let's begin our journey with this. 6 years ago, this pandemic was changing everything for creatives, for business, for everybody. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you do things today?
Yes, that was definitely a difficult time for everybody. I think everybody had to take the time to sit home, so that's a lot of reflection time. I think that that's what I did with myself, to speak for myself. I took that time as a reflection time where I thought about where I was in my life, and communication was there, but meeting people now, less physical contact and all. It made me realize that I actually missed that that was a big part of who I was. So I did a lot of self-reflection during that time, and I think a lot of people also, spending time with their families or staying at home also had some time to reflect as well. But yeah, the world has definitely changed after that, for sure, in the way people even look at things now, because we never thought about the day coming that we would be, locked in our houses.
Yeah.
So it definitely sparked some thoughts, I think, also.
So let's get into exactly what you do as a global independent artist. And I'm going to put you in front of 12-year-olds at career day. You're in a school, and one of the kids wants to know what your job is. How do you explain what you do every day?
Well, to 12, I have a 9-year-old myself, and
Okay.
he's also confused because mommy's going to school, mommy's singing, mommy's working. So basically, how I would say it is that this is part of the way I live my life. I get to do what I love every day. So me being able to do my music is being able to express myself. So the same way I would tell them that, whatever they love to do, if they keep pushing towards that direction, they will also get to do what they love in the future. And that it takes away from, oh, I have to go to work every day, because you enjoy where you're going. So that's where I'm at in my life. And I would definitely tell them to try and, build on what they love, what they're passionate about. And if they follow through with that direction, that, they'll be able to balance their life in the future with fun and joy.
So let's go back to when you were that age. Was this the life that you envisioned? What was your dream job at that point?
I grew up in a very strict Indian family, Punjabi upbringing. So definitely this was not even an option, let alone like a dream. I was scared to even dream of it at first, but music was always a part of us because like religiously, we play harmonium and stuff like that. But when I got into my early teenage years that I was exposed to like more like Western music and stuff like that. I always speak about how when I heard Eminem, I wasn't supposed to, but it kind of like really changed me because not only did I see somebody express themselves, I was able to see them put it in a song. And because I didn't have the same life like him, but I was able to align it with my own frustrations and rebelling against my Indian culture. And not only was it a familial thing, it was a societal thing where, you don't want to shame your family. So doing anything to do with arts was not an option for us. It was more like, like the typical, you gotta be a doctor, lawyer, but for me that time, it was definitely trying to break that ceiling and just pursuing it and not seeing that it was there, but making it happen because I believe that you could express yourself through art if you want to.
So, what do you think early on in your life, being in that environment, what were the seeds that were planted that made you want to become an artist, to make you break away from that mold and get into this life that you're living now?
Yes, definitely. That's a great question because when I started to get into music and the fact that they wouldn't let me do it made me feel like I wanted to do it more. Not really because of the rebellious side, but because it was like a women and children's thing. Because in our culture, especially back then, women and children didn't really have a voice. So, expressing yourself through art is a whole different thing. So that being said, I felt like, hey, I could represent my women and the children and show them that we can fight against that and still do what we love. So that was a big spark for me at that time to keep going. I went through very hard times with disconnect from the family, disconnect from the society, but I chose to, be an example and pursue it regardless. Yeah.
So who were inspirations early on? What music? You mentioned Eminem, but who from not only just a creative standpoint, from like a business standpoint, because that's inevitably a part of this creative process in this world. You can't
Yeah.
rely on the big company to take care of everything. You got to be kind of a holistic business creative entity. Who were you looking at that inspired you?
You know, back then also what I was doing was taking hip hop artists to Thailand, which was like a really new thing. Hip hop culture wasn't there yet. So I was definitely learning from there, from how they operated and how they had the team around them. I was very impressed with Jay-Z's team and how he had that layout, and that's one thing I learned, that this is definitely not a one-man job. This takes a team, this takes people around you, the same way I would have never been able to do my songs without the team that I had around me. So Jay-Z was one of them. Gwen Stefani had a great team around her as well when we took her over there. So she inspired me because she's a very hard worker as well, you know. So these are some of the people that I enjoyed. The Black Eyed Peas were very fun because that was a whole group energy. So it was a different type of group, but the same type of, you need a creative people around you. You need business people around you. Because as an artist for myself, sometimes I can't use my brain in all those capacities. So it's like, yeah, my producer needs to handle this and I can only do so. Yeah, so definitely the teamwork around you is the most important thing that I've noticed.
So, on a personal level, who was in your life that was inspirational that's allowed you to have this vision of going after this career?
Growing up, there wasn't really much like Indian girls, especially I'm from Thailand. So in India, it was different, right? Because there was Bollywood and stuff like that. But being from like a small Indian society in Thailand, we were even more like watched and stuff. So I didn't really have like examples like to look up to like that until like I heard Western music and I started hearing like Lauryn Hill and Erykah Badu and then like Alicia Keys, and those were the people, older when I was older, when I started to hear music with people that inspired me. But growing up, it was mostly religious music and Bollywood music. So yeah.
Was it always your dream to come to America?
Yes, it was. It sparked when I was like 16, 17, because my dad, he comes to America anyway. So he brought me on one of his business trips when I was that age. And I felt like I walked into a movie set or something, because you see movies there, right? So I fell in love with the country right away. And I was exposed to even more music and, like just the freedom and, the way the women would carry themselves, like so free and so confident. So I loved it. And I went back home and I was never the same. I actually became even more rebellious and started to really act up, and I just really wanted to come back to America until I finally came on my own, which is another story for another day.
So, let me ask you this. What was the first live concert that you saw that really made you galvanize this idea that you want to be up there one day? You want to do that with your life?
Hmm. That's quite a difficult one because it wouldn't, I don't think for me it was one specific thing.
Yeah.
I think it was watching it and as a process, seeing people perform. I felt like performance was, I love to dance. So here's the thing, before even this whole singing artistry thing came, I dreamt about being like a dancer because I really loved dancing, but it was so looked down upon that I never really, allowed myself to open up more into that dream. So I didn't even see myself as an artist growing up. Yeah, it was a whole different view back then.
Yeah. So, what
Yeah.
is it that you like the best every day when you wake up? You have the chance to create and to give it to people. What do you look forward to? What do you love about this life that you've orchestrated?
Oh, I love when the music is done and when people actually get to hear it. I feel like, birthing the song. Like it's like a product, it's a piece of me that I get to share with the world. Because I feel like sound is energy as well. So when people hear my song, they get to hear and understand my energy and find the vibrations. I love that process. The
Yeah.
process of the music is done. That's when I feel like I'm able to put everything I feel. and put it out to the world.
You know, I love music. I have a jazz radio show. I've been around musicians for a long time, and I just don't think there's going to be any way that we can replace musicians. But as we look at Hollywood, there's AI generated actors and actresses. There's songs that are on the top of the charts now that are AI. Is that something that you think about what's your take on AI generated art?
Yes, that's also a great question because that's something inevitable now, right? So I think that learning to live with it and alongside it. You can't just reject something when it's coming your way already. So I think learning to work with it, I don't think it will ever just take over like the human creativity and like you said, the musicians and the bands, but yeah, a lot of people are using that like to climb up the charts and stuff like that, which is kind of like, tainting the music industry a little bit. But, I hope that the real artists is, people can still feel like when you do shows. I think that's one thing that, will always remain is the live shows and the concerts and stuff like that. So I think that will still take precedent because music at the end of the day is about emotions and feelings, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
happy, sad. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had this dream of being an artist, and you're thinking about what your life is going to be like when you get to this point. You live this every day, and now you're living it. What's been the difference between the dream you had of what it would be like and actually being in this and living this life?
So when I first started, yeah, it was fun doing the performance and that, yeah, I wanted to do like, become an artist, go to America and do that. But when I came here and life happened, this whole story changed. So, a lot of things happened. So I started to become like an advocate for women and children, so my whole concept of who I wanted to be or where I see myself also changed. So now I don't see myself as just like when I saw myself on the Times Square billboard, it wasn't like a wow, like as an artist, I made it. It's like, wow, now I have a platform for my voice where I can use it to further for a better cause. So back then, I didn't see that picture like this, but because of what I've been through in life and, like with experiences, I see myself in a different lane now.
So once you get to America, you're in the biggest music spot on the planet. What was the stage that you always thought, man, I can't wait to get on that stage? And then you finally get on that stage. What was the dream stage where you had to pinch yourself?
I always thought about Madison Square Garden. And then everybody's so like big about this Coachella thing because like not even a couple years ago, I think it was the first Sikh because I'm Sikh. There was a first Sikh artist, Diljit Dosanjh, that was performing at Coachella. So it was a big thing for me, and that type of stuff like inspires me definitely because that's Madison Square Garden, Coachella. Those are some things I look forward to.
So if
God,
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, you ran into the 18-year-old version of you, and you walked into a room and there was a film projector and you hit play and there was a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived so far that came up. Would that young version of you believe that you made it and that you're here and this is the life you've lived?
I think that she would be shocked, definitely, because a lot of things I did not see coming and I couldn't even comprehend, especially because I came from Asia, and I came here alone. And it was very hard navigating. And, if you don't surround yourself with the right people, especially when you're halfway across the world from everything, you can definitely go down a lot of rabbit holes and a lot of get into a lot of things that you didn't expect. And then on top of that, you don't understand. And then you have nobody to teach you. So it takes time for you to learn the lesson the hard way yourself. So yeah, it's definitely been a twists and turns of
Yeah.
journeys.
So what is the energy for you every day to do this at a high level, to create music, to be on stage, to live this dream, to take care of your soul holistically every day? What is that for you?
Yeah, so going through this journey that I went through in the last like couple of years is brought me back to myself. I had to learn to find myself again. because like when you're in like a domestic violence situation or coercive control, they tend to rip your identity away. They tend to create a narrative for you that you fall into. And it takes a lot of strength to find yourself deep down inside again and to come back from that. So I think that is definitely a process, something that I learned from that made me who I am today.
So when you look back on your life, you look in that rearview mirror, everything that you've lived and evolved to at this point, what are you ultimately the happiest about, the proudest of?
I'm very happy that I came back to my music because I found that it's definitely a way that it gave me my place in the world almost. It was like I always knew it was there, and then I got so lost. And then when I found my music again, I was like, this is where I belong. That's how I feel.
I love it. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, everyone that creates and is a part of your world, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm somebody that is just like a vessel from God to help because God put me through quite a bit, of whirlwind. So I like to believe that that's for a reason to build me into the woman that I am today. Because I could tell you years ago, I was not this person. And I feel that that's the reason why I went through that is so that I could use my voice. And like I told you earlier, like God gave me this platform so that I can use that to further help other people. Because I'm not the only one that's going through these troubles that the family court let us down. There's a lot of people that are going through it, a lot of kids that are suffering because mental abuse is not even recognized. So I feel like I'm the vessel that is, that builds strength over time that can help people. I would say that I would want to be that.
I get it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one concert, one musician, where are you going? Who would you love to have seen live?
Miguel. Because when I came to America, I continued doing the concert. So we did Miguel's concert in Rye Playland, upstate New York,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, when you asked me earlier what was my favorite, that would be the one.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love it.
Miguel, because I love the artistry. I love the lyrical, aspect of it, and of course the energy and the vibrations.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miguel, I think would be the best.
I love it. So if anybody wants to dive into your world, get your music, any of the wonderful work that you're doing, where's the best place to go?
So on social media, I'm under Kneet Music, Kneet Music, and on the music platforms, just under Kneet, Kneet, and YouTube also Kneet Music. On there, you can see all the new music and interviews as well.
Okay, wonderful. I will put all these in the show notes. What an absolute joy. It was great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out. Thank you for your story, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here. Sawadee
Absolutely.
ka, Rikaji.
Thank you.